Jack Ryder was an ordinary man living an ordinary life on Earth. He worked in a small repair shop, fixing machines and gadgets that people brought to him. He liked his quiet life, but he always dreamed of something more, something big and exciting. One evening, as Jack was closing his shop, his small screen blinked with a strange message. It was not from any of his usual contacts. The message showed a glowing blue hologram of a woman in a beautiful dress. She wore a crown that sparkled with stars, and her eyes shone like the night sky. "Jack Ryder," the woman said softly, "I am Princess Lyra of the Andromeda Empire. I invite you to my wedding. You are the groom." Jack blinked in surprise. "The groom? Me? But I don't even know you." The hologram smiled kindly. "You will understand soon. Please come to the Andromeda system. Your destiny awaits." Before Jack could say anything, the hologram disappeared. Jack sat back in his chair, staring at the empty space where the message had been. Was this a joke? A dream? He shook his head. No, it was real. The invitation came from beyond the stars. The next days were a blur. Jack told no one about the strange invitation. Instead, he packed a small bag and went to the spaceport. The Andromeda Empire was far away, millions of light years from Earth. But the invitation was clear. He had to go. On the ship, Jack looked out the window. Stars moved past in long streaks. He thought about what the princess said. Was this some mistake? Or maybe an adventure waiting to happen? When the ship reached the Andromeda system, Jack's heart beat fast. The planet below was covered in shining cities and glowing towers. The air was filled with colors he had never seen before. At the spaceport, tall guards in silver armor greeted Jack. They spoke in a language he did not understand but somehow felt friendly. They took him to a large floating palace high above the city. Inside the palace, everything was beautiful. Walls shone like crystals, and soft music played in the background. Jack was led to a room where a tall woman waited. It was Princess Lyra. She smiled warmly. "Welcome, Jack. I know this is strange for you, but the story of our two worlds is tied together in a way you cannot yet see." Jack nodded slowly. "I want to understand." Lyra's eyes shone with hope. "Soon, you will." As Jack looked around the palace, he felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. He was far from Earth, in a place full of wonders, but more than that, he felt that this invitation was only the beginning of something much bigger, something that would change his life forever. Jack followed the silver-armored guards through long, shining halls. The palace was larger and more beautiful than anything he had ever seen on Earth. Light floated gently in the air, and strange plants with glowing leaves lined the walls. It felt like he had stepped into a dream. As they walked, Jack noticed many people of different shapes and sizes. Some had smooth blue skin. Others had wings or eyes that glowed softly. All of them looked calm and peaceful. They greeted Jack with polite bows and smiles. He realized this was not just a palace. It was the heart of a great empire. The guards stopped at a large door made of crystal. One of them touched it with a glowing hand, and the door slowly opened. Inside was a room filled with stars and planets, like a small galaxy trapped inside the palace. Jack's eyes grew wide. Princess Lyra stood in the middle, wearing a silver gown that sparkled like the night sky. She smiled warmly at Jack and stepped forward. "Welcome to the Celestial Palace, Jack," she said softly. "You are our honored guest." Jack nodded, feeling a mix of nervousness and curiosity. "Thank you, Princess Lyra. Your home is amazing." Lyra's smile grew. "This palace orbits a living star. It is the center of the Andromeda Empire. Soon, you will meet my people, and you will learn why you were invited here." Jack wanted to ask many questions, but he kept quiet. He knew this was only the beginning of something big. Later, Lyra led Jack through the palace. They passed grand halls filled with alien art and technology far beyond Earth's science. Strange machines floated silently, and walls displayed moving images of distant planets and starships. This empire has lasted for thousands of years, Lyra explained. We have kept peace in many star systems, but now our future depends on a new alliance between your world and mine. Jack looked at her, surprised. Why me? Why Earth? Lyra's eyes grew serious. There is an old prophecy. It says a stranger from a distant world will come to unite our peoples. That stranger is you, Jack. Jack shook his head, feeling both overwhelmed and honored. I never imagined something like this. She placed her hand gently on his arm. Neither did I. But together, we can change the future. That night, Jack sat alone by a large window looking out at the swirling stars. He thought about Earth, his home, his small life, and the enormous galaxy beyond. What did the future hold? What was this destiny waiting for him? Suddenly, a soft voice spoke beside him. Are you ready, Jack? It was Lyra. He looked at her and nodded slowly. I want to understand everything. I want to help. She smiled, her eyes shining with hope. Then rest now. Tomorrow, your true journey begins. As Jack closed his eyes, he felt a spark inside him, a hope, a new beginning. The wedding was still days away, but he already knew his life would never be the same. The morning sun of the Andromeda system shone softly through the tall crystal windows of the palace. Jack woke up feeling both nervous and excited. Today was the day of the wedding ceremony, but he still didn't understand everything. How could he be the groom to an alien princess he barely knew? Lyra met him in the grand hall. She wore a beautiful dress decorated with shining stars and glowing threads. Her eyes were calm, but full of meaning. Jack, she said gently, there is something important you must know before the ceremony. Jack looked at her carefully. What is it? Lyra took a deep breath. Our people have watched Earth for many years. We learned that humans have a special power. The power to bring hope and change, even in the darkest times. This is why you were chosen. Jack's heart beat faster. Chosen? By whom? The elders of the Andromeda Empire, Lyra explained. Long ago, a prophecy was made. It said that one day, a human would arrive to join our royal family and help protect the galaxy. You are that human. Jack felt a strange mix of fear and pride. But why me? I'm just a repairman from Earth. Lyra smiled softly. Sometimes, the greatest heroes come from the simplest places. Your kindness, courage, and honesty made you the perfect choice. Suddenly, a loud sound echoed through the palace halls. Guards rushed by, their faces serious. What's happening? Jack asked, alarmed. Lyra's expression grew grave. Enemies who do not want this alliance are moving against us. They want to stop the wedding. Jack's mind raced. He had not even started to understand this new world, and already danger was near. Can we stop them? He asked. Lyra took his hand. Together, we can. But first, you must accept your role as my groom, as a symbol of unity between our people. Jack looked into her eyes. Despite all the fear, he saw hope and strength. He nodded. I accept, he said clearly. Lyra smiled brightly. Then the ceremony will begin soon. You are not alone anymore, Jack. We will face this future side by side. As the palace prepared for the ceremony, Jack felt a new confidence growing inside him. He was no longer just a man from Earth. He was part of something much bigger, a future where two worlds could come together in peace. But deep inside, Jack knew that the challenges ahead would test everything he believed in. The wedding was only the first step in a journey that could change the fate of the galaxy. And Jack was ready to face it. The palace was alive with excitement and preparation. Beautiful lights hung from the tall ceilings, and soft music filled the air. Guests from many different planets arrived. Dressed in bright colors and elegant clothes, Jack watched everything carefully. He knew this day was special, but also dangerous. Princess Lyra stood by his side, calm and strong. She smiled at Jack, but her eyes showed worry. "Jack, you must be ready," she said quietly. "There are those who do not want this wedding to happen." Jack looked around. Who would want to stop it? Lyra's voice grew soft but serious. "Some groups fear the power this union will bring. They want to keep the galaxy divided so they can control it." Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed through the palace halls. Guards rushed past Jack, moving quickly to their positions. The music stopped. A cold silence filled the room. "An attack," one guard said urgently. "They are trying to break into the palace." Jack's heart raced. He had never been in a fight like this before, but he knew he had to be brave. Lyra grabbed his hand. "Come with me," she said. Together, they moved toward the palace control room, where the leaders would decide what to do. Inside the control room, screens showed enemy ships approaching fast. The attackers were from a rival faction, angry about the alliance and ready to start a war. "We must protect the palace and the wedding," Lyra said. "Jack, will you stand with me?" Jack nodded without hesitation. "Yes, I won't let them win." The palace defenders prepared their weapons and shields. Jack followed the soldiers to the outer walls, where strange energy barriers glowed to block the enemy. As the first enemy ships tried to break through, Jack saw how strong the palace's defenses were, but the attackers were many and fierce. Suddenly, a blast hit near Jack, shaking the ground. He stumbled but stayed on his feet. "Hold the line," a soldier shouted. Jack felt a fire inside him, a courage he didn't know he had. He helped the guards repair a damaged shield generator, working quickly with his hands. The battle raged on, but Jack and Lyra stood strong. Their people fought bravely, united against the enemy. Finally, after what felt like hours, the attackers began to retreat. The palace was safe for now. Lyra smiled at Jack, her eyes shining with pride. "You were brave today. Together, we are stronger." Jack smiled back, feeling the deep bond with the princess and her people. The wedding was not just a ceremony. It was a symbol of hope and strength for the entire galaxy. But Jack knew the fight was not over. There would be more challenges ahead, and he was ready to face them. After the attack, the palace was quiet but tense. Jack and Princess Lyra knew that to secure the future of their worlds, they had to prove their unity in a way deeper than words or ceremonies. The elders of the Andromeda Empire had one last test, an ancient trial that only the chosen couple could face. Early the next morning, Jack and Lyra were led to a hidden chamber deep inside the palace. The walls were covered with glowing symbols and strange designs. The air smelled cool and fresh, like it came from deep underground. A wise elder stepped forward. "This trial will test your courage, your mind, and your trust in each other," he said. "Only together can you succeed." Jack looked at Lyra. She nodded, her eyes steady and confident. They stepped forward together as the door closed behind them. The room shifted, and suddenly, the floor beneath them disappeared. They were falling through darkness, only to land softly on a strange platform surrounded by glowing pillars. A deep voice echoed, "Your first challenge is courage. Face the shadows of your fears." In front of them, shadows moved, shapes from Jack's past and Lyra's memories. Jack saw images of his quiet Earth life, his doubts and fears of not being strong enough. Lyra saw the loss of her family and the weight of her people's future. Hand in hand, they faced the shadows, supporting each other. Jack realized courage was not about being fearless, but about standing tall even when afraid. The shadows disappeared, and the voice spoke again. "Now your minds must solve the puzzle of the stars." A glowing map of constellations appeared. Jack and Lyra worked together, connecting stars to unlock the path forward. Jack's knowledge of Earth's sky helped, while Lyra's understanding of the Andromeda system guided their choices. With a bright flash, the puzzle was solved. Finally, the voice said, "The last test is trust. One must close their eyes and follow the other's lead." Jack closed his eyes. Lyra took his hand gently. She led him through a path full of hidden dangers, soft steps over narrow bridges, careful movements around invisible traps. Jack felt the princess's calm voice guiding him. He learned to trust her completely. When they reached the end, the chamber lit up with brilliant light. The elder's voice said, "You have passed the trial. Your bond is strong. The prophecy moves forward." Jack opened his eyes and smiled at Lyra. She smiled back, their hands still joined. Outside the chamber, the palace awaited them. The wedding was closer now, a moment that would mark the start of a new era. Jack felt something deep inside, a power he didn't fully understand yet. The trial had changed him. He was no longer just a man from Earth. He was part of a destiny much greater than he ever dreamed. After the ancient trial, Jack felt stronger and closer to Princess Lyra than ever before. But there were still many questions in his mind. Why was he chosen? What was the true meaning of the prophecy? And what secret link did Earth have with the Andromeda Empire? One evening, Lyra invited Jack to a quiet room filled with old books and glowing scrolls. The walls were lined with holographic images of stars and ancient history. "Jack," she said softly, "there is something you must see. It will explain much about your past and your future." She activated a large screen that showed the story of an ancient alliance between Earth and the Andromeda Empire, thousands of years ago. The images revealed human explorers who had traveled to distant stars and met the alien ancestors of Lyra's people. Long ago, Lyra explained, our two worlds were connected by brave travelers like you. But over time, Earth forgot these stories, and the connection was lost. Jack watched the images with growing wonder. The explorers had shared knowledge and technology with the Andromeda people, planting seeds for peace and growth. But why did Earth forget? Jack asked. Because of a great war, Lyra said quietly. A war that scattered the knowledge and made the worlds grow apart. Now, the prophecy is about bringing us back together, to restore what was lost. Jack felt a deep feeling of pride and responsibility. So, I'm part of something bigger than myself. I'm continuing a journey that started long ago. Lyra smiled. Yes, and your arrival here is no accident. Your bloodline carries the strength and courage of those early explorers. Jack placed his hand on his chest, feeling the weight of history and hope. Just then, a sudden alert sounded. The palace security system flashed a warning. An unknown ship was approaching fast. The peaceful moment was broken. Lyra's face turned serious. Enemies are still watching us. They want to stop the reunion of our worlds. Jack stood up, ready. Then we have to protect it, no matter what. Lyra nodded. Together, we will face whatever comes next. As the doors opened, Jack realized his life had changed forever. He was no longer just a man from Earth. He was a bridge between two great civilizations. And the secrets of the past were guiding him toward a future he never imagined. The day of the wedding finally arrived. The celestial palace was decorated with lights that shined like stars, and music filled the air. Guests from many planets gathered to witness the historic union of Earth and the Andromeda Empire. Jack stood beside Princess Lyra, dressed in a suit that sparkled with silver threads. His heart beat fast, not just from excitement, but also from nervousness. He knew the importance of this moment. This wedding was more than a ceremony. It was a promise of peace and unity. As the ceremony began, Lyra's voice was clear and calm as she spoke the ancient vows. Jack repeated his promises, feeling the weight of his new role as her groom and as a leader for both worlds. Suddenly, the palace alarms blared loudly. The music stopped, and the guests looked around in confusion and fear. "Attack!" a guard shouted. Outside the palace windows, dark ships filled the sky, blocking out the stars. Enemy forces had come to stop the wedding and destroy the alliance. Chaos spread through the palace as guards rushed to defend the halls. Jack grabbed Lyra's hand tightly. "We have to protect everyone," he said firmly. Lyra nodded. "Stay close to me." Jack followed Lyra as she led the palace defenders to the battle stations. Together, they prepared to fight the attackers. The enemy ships fired powerful blasts at the palace shields. Jack watched as the energy barriers flickered under the heavy assault. Suddenly, one part of the shield failed, and a blast hit the palace wall nearby. Jack ducked just in time as debris fell around him. "Hold the line," Lyra shouted. Jack helped the defenders repair the shield controls. He worked quickly, his hands steady despite the danger. The battle raged on, but the palace defenders fought bravely. Lyra commanded with calm strength, inspiring everyone around her. After a fierce fight, the enemy ships began to retreat. The palace was safe, but the danger was far from over. Lyra turned to Jack. "You were brave today. I am proud to stand with you." Jack smiled, feeling a new confidence growing inside him. "We are stronger together." As the guests cheered, the wedding ceremony resumed. Jack and Lyra completed their vows, sealing their bond and the promise of peace. Jack knew the road ahead would be difficult. There would be more enemies and challenges. But with Lyra by his side and the power of their union, he believed they could face anything. This was just the beginning of a new era for Earth, the Andromeda Empire, and the entire galaxy. After the wedding, the palace slowly returned to its usual calm. The guests had left, and the bright lights dimmed to a soft glow. Jack and Princess Lyra stood together, watching the stars from a high balcony. "It feels like a new beginning," Jack said quietly. "But I still worry about the enemies who try to stop us." Lyra nodded. "They are dangerous, but we have shown that we are strong. Still, not all threats are outside the palace." Jack looked at her with surprise. "What do you mean?" Lyra took a deep breath. "There are people inside our empire who do not want this alliance. Some are jealous or afraid of change. They work in secret, hiding in the shadows." Jack's eyes widened. "Hidden enemies. How do we find them?" Lyra's gaze became sharp. "We must be careful. Trust is our greatest weapon and also our greatest risk." That night, Jack joined Lyra in the palace's secret council room. There they met with trusted leaders from many worlds. "We must find the spies," Lyra said. "They will try to weaken our alliance from within." Jack listened carefully as the council discussed plans to protect the empire. He realized that being a leader meant more than bravery in battle. It meant understanding people's fears and working to build trust. Days passed, and strange events began to happen in the palace. Important messages went missing. Guards acted strangely. Jack noticed whispers and secret meetings in dark corners. One evening, as Jack walked through the palace gardens, a shadow moved quickly behind him. He turned, but no one was there. A chill ran down his spine. Suddenly, he heard a soft voice. "You are not safe here, Groom." Jack spun around and saw a figure disappear into the shadows. It was clear someone was watching and warning him. He hurried to Lyra. "There are spies in the palace. Someone knows about me." Lyra took his hands and looked into his eyes. "We will find them. You are not alone." Together, they began to search for clues. Jack used his sharp mind and simple Earth logic to uncover hidden patterns. Lyra used her knowledge of the Empire's politics and people. Slowly, they discovered a web of secrets and lies. The hidden threat was closer than they had feared. But Jack and Lyra were ready to face it. Their bond was strong, and their hope was unbreakable. The fight for peace was far from over. Jack and Princess Lyra worked day and night to find the traitor hiding in the palace. They knew the spy was dangerous, someone who wanted to destroy the peace between Earth and the Andromeda Empire. One evening, Jack found a secret message hidden inside an ancient book in the palace library. The message was written in a code only a few could understand. With Lyra's help, Jack slowly decoded it. The message warned of a secret meeting between palace guards and enemy spies. Jack felt a cold fear in his heart. The traitor was closer than he thought. "We must stop this meeting," Jack told Lyra. "If the enemies gain more power, The alliance will fall apart. Lyra nodded. We will act carefully. No one must know we are watching. They planned a secret mission. Jack disguised himself as a palace guard, while Lyra stayed in the control room, ready to help. Late at night, Jack moved quietly through the palace halls. He followed the clues to a hidden room where the secret meeting was about to happen. Inside, he saw several guards talking in low voices. Among them was one of the high-ranking officers who had always seemed loyal. Jack's heart pounded. This man was the traitor. He recorded their conversation with a small device, gathering proof to expose the spy. Suddenly, the traitor noticed movement. "Who's there?" he shouted. Jack froze but quickly hid behind a pillar. "Check the halls," the traitor ordered angrily. Jack held his breath, waiting for the guards to pass. When it was safe, Jack slipped away and ran to tell Lyra what he had found. Lyra's eyes were fierce. We must act now. Together, they confronted the traitor in the throne room, where all the leaders had gathered. Jack played the secret recording. The traitor's lies and plans were revealed to everyone. The room was silent. The traitor tried to defend himself, but the proof was clear. The leaders agreed to remove the traitor and strengthen the palace's security. Lyra turned to Jack and smiled. "You saved our empire today." Jack felt proud but also tired. The fight was hard, but he knew it was worth it. "Together, we will protect this new future," Jack said. Lyra nodded. "And our bond will guide us." As peace returned to the palace, Jack realized that the greatest battle was not just against enemies outside, but also the ones hidden within. But with trust, courage, and love, even the darkest betrayals could be overcome.